Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we are going to work with Salesforce data in Lightning Web Component. So in this video I am going to talk about wire services in Lightning Web Component. Okay, so as I already told you, we are going to work with the Salesforce data. It means we are going to explore one of the ways which can be used to get the data from Salesforce and display on Lightning web pages. So the one of the ways is the wire service, and in this tutorial I am going to get the data I'm going to get the contact list from the Salesforce and will display on Lightning web page component. Okay, so let's start now. So first thing we are going to do, we are going to create an Apex class. So to create it in Windows, you can press Ctrl Shift P and then you can type create Apex class. Then it will ask for desired file name. So I'll name it contact list controller. Okay, so now we have created contact list controller, and this controller we are going to use to get the data. Now whenever you work with Lightning web component, all the methods which are written in Apex class should be annotated with aura enabled, as well as it should be a static method. So what I'll do, I'll make it aura enabled. So I have method now, and I'll name this method, let's say get contact list, and I'm going to return the list of contact. So list of contact. Okay, and here I'll write just return statement, and I'm going to query the contacts. So I'll write select ID, name, title, phone, email from contact, and I'll limit, I only want to retrieve 10 contacts. That's done. Now we have created our method. What it is going to do, it is going to return 10 contacts from the Salesforce. This query is going to return the 10 contacts, whatever it finds, and then we will use this data and will display it on Lightning web component using wire service. So let me push it to the org. It got pushed successfully. Now next thing we are going to do, we are going to create a LWC component. So again, create Lightning web component, and I'll name it contact list, and I'll save it to the default directory. Now you will have 3 files: contact list, contact.js, and then so in the contact.js we need to import the wire property. So you can just import like this, and then we actually need to import the class. So I'll name it get contact list from, and then Salesforce Apex, and then the class name. So in our case it's contact list controller, and then you have this method. So I'll copy it, So now what we have done here, we have imported our method which is going to return the list of contacts. Now let's use the wire service. So how can you use it? It's a way pretty easy to use it. You can just write wire, and then you will have the name whatever you have imported. So you have imported this, and then you can use contacts as variable, which we can use in our HTML file to get the data. That's all for the JS file. Now I'll go to the contact list. In the contact list, I'll create a lightning card. So lightning card, I'll just close it. I'll define some attributes. So for title, I'll name it contact list, and let's define some icon name. So I'll name it custom 63. Another thing we are going to do, I'll define a div, and inside this div, what I'm going to do, I'm going to check if the contact has data, if our class has returned any data. So to check it, I'll just use template tag, and inside the template tag, I'll use if true statement, and I'll just check here the contacts.data. So if there is any data, then only it is going inside this section. Okay, now loop through the list of contact and show it. Right, to do that, I'll define one more template, and this is how you can loop through a list in LWC. We can use for each, and inside the for each we can just use contacts.data, and then same as the our traditional loop, we need to define one variable for item, and we will define an item. So I'll define just contact, and inside this we are going to display the name of the contact. So to display the name of the contact, it's very easy. Inside the, we need to implement the p tag, and inside the p tag we will just access the name of the contact. And before that, if you see here, I'm getting some error which is saying missing key for the element. It means we need to define a key, and that should be unique. So in this case, I'll make the contact.id as my key. So we are done till here. Let's provide some CSS classes for the padding. So I'll define class, and that will be slds medium around margin, and so we are just applying some margin around the div. Hopefully, okay. Next thing we need to do, maybe we need to define the meta tag targets, and inside the target we will define where we want to show our components. I want to show it on a home page, and also I want to show on the record page. Lightning record page, and just save it, and let me push it to the Salesforce. Oh, I have some error. So it says no contact list controller. Let me copy it. So by mistake I typed incorrect class name. So now we have deployed our wire service component. Next thing we need to do, we need to go to the Salesforce and edit the page. Okay, so we placed our component on home tab, but the data is not showing up. So let me debug it and find out what is the reason. Okay, so let me go to the Apex class. Okay, so one thing we must consider, or we need to define whenever we are working with the wire services, the aura enabled annotation should be cacheable equal to true. So the first error, I believe this is the first error. So what I'm going to do, I am going to define cacheable equal to true. I'll save it and then I'll deploy it. So hopefully we are going to see the data now. Let's see what happens. Oh, so data is still not visible. So let's go to the contact.js. It's correct here. Oh, there is one more error. So as you know, the JavaScript is case sensitive. So capital I and D, this is what ID looks in the data, and also name returns in the capital. Let me save it and then push it again to the Salesforce, and let's refresh it. Now we should be able to see the data, what we are returning. Oh, wow. So now we are able to see all the 10 contacts here and inside the contact list. So this is how you can use wire services to invoke the Apex method and get the data from Salesforce to your Lightning page. Thank you so much for the watching.